So for example 5, I'm also going to factor these using both methods, decomposition and the rectangle model. So for the first one, I'm going to think of the product, which is 2 times negative 3, which would be negative 6. And the sum has to be negative 5. So I'm looking for things that multiply to give me negative 6 and add to give me negative 5. And those two numbers would be negative 6 and 1. So using decomposition first of all, I'm going to substitute negative 6x plus x instead of negative 5x, because I know that negative 6x plus x gives me negative 5x. Then I'm going to add my brackets to separate my equation. Now I'm going to look for common factors. A common factor for 2x squared and 6x would be 2x, and I'm left with x minus 3 in my brackets. There is nothing here that's common other than 1, so I'm going to take my 1 out. I have my matching brackets, so my answer would be, 2x plus 1 times x minus 3. So that's a 2. 2x plus 1 times x minus 3. Using the rectangle model, I should get the same answer. And again, I'm going to use my negative 6x and my 1x to go in as my diagonals. My common factor here would be 2x. My common factor here is 1. Here I get an x, and here I'd have a negative 3. So my factors would be 2x plus 1 times x minus 3. For example B, I'm going to do that the same way. Again, I'm going to start off by looking for the numbers that give me a product and a sum. My product is going to have to be 30. So I want numbers that multiply to give me 30 and that give me a sum of 17. So things that multiply to give you 30 and add to give you 17 would be 15 and 2. So using decomposition, I'm going to substitute that middle term with 15n plus 2n. And then I'm going to put in my brackets. Now I'm going to look for common factors. Common between 3 and 15 is 3, and I have an n in both terms. That gives me n plus 5 left over when I take out the common factor. And here the only thing I have in common is a 2. But when I take that out, look, I have my n plus 5 in common. So my answer would be 3n plus 2 times n plus 5. Using the rectangle model, I'm going to fill in my square. And then I'm going to look for my factors. So common factors this way would be my 3 and my n. Here I would have a 2. Up and down, the only common factor I would have here would be an n, and here it would be a 5. So my factors, using the rectangle method, would be exactly the same as when I use decomposition. So it's really up to you which method you prefer, whether you like to write it out like this or use this kind of a shortcut method. It doesn't matter. They should both get you the same answer if you do them correctly.